to creating the universally designed for learning early childhood classroom, the physical environment. My name is Beth. The basis of every early childhood program is the learning environment, the physical, social, emotional, and temporal spaces where children will interact, grow, and develop. Within a rich, play-based learning environment, early childhood educators implement intentional teaching strategies to support their students in meeting early learning standards. Engaging resources and learning tasks with appropriate scaffolding provide children the opportunity to develop skills and competencies they will need as they move along in education and in life. In this video, we will be discussing the physical environment. The physical environment includes the design of the physical layout of space, arrangement of furniture and resources, as well as lighting and floor coverings, and the creation and organization of learning centers. All children must be able to safely access and actively engage in the learning opportunities indoors and out. Consider how you will construct and present activities and materials so they are arranged in provoking and inviting ways to encourage exploration, learning, and inquiry. This arrangement of space plus equipment is designed to promote children's interactions, to play face-to-face or side-by-side, and a variety of surface heights for floor play, standing, etc. Adults are key in arranging the physical environment, selecting equipment and materials, and planning activities for centers that contribute to children's purposeful play. What is Universal Design for Learning, or UDL? It is a framework for curriculum design, instruction, and assessment to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights on how humans learn. I want to clarify that it's not a special education initiative, as it supports the learning of all students. The term UDL, or Universal Design for Learning, grew out of the architectural movement of universal design. If you take a look at these two images, the retrofitted ramp versus the ramp that was built into the design of the building, you can see how universal design erases stigma and practical loss of potential functionality versus the opportunity to make buildings or materials more usable by all in an acceptable and even beautiful manner. So the goal in education is to build curriculum materials and teacher-created instructional resources that are usable by all, not retrofitted to some. Universal Design for Learning is built on brain-based research, which recognizes that there are multiple kinds of learning. We have the affective network, which is the why of learning, the recognition network, the what of learning, and the strategic network, the how of learning. Individuals bring different skills, needs, and interests to learning, and neuroscience shows that these differences are as unique as our fingerprints. Therefore, a single one-size-fits-all solution does not work for every student. We need to make sure, with the why of learning, that we're providing options for recruiting interest, that we're providing options for sustaining effort and persistence, and providing options for self-regulation, which results in an expert learner who is purposeful and motivated. With the recognition network, the what of learning, we need to provide options for perception, provide options for languages and symbols, and provide options for comprehension, resulting in expert learners who are resourceful and knowledgeable. And with the how of learning, we need to provide options for physical action, options for expression and communication, and options for executive functions, so that we get learners who are strategic and goal-directed. How does this apply to early childhood? UDL is about design in any classroom setting, and that includes pre-planning to overcome potential barriers, choice, which leads to learning how to learn, and building expert learners who are empowered. A well-designed, responsive early learning environment provides structure and predictability, gives young learners an opportunity to make choices and meet expectations. It honors diversity in the classroom and in the world beyond. It sees that young learners are responsible for caring for the equipment and materials that they have around them. It facilitates appropriate social interactions among young learners and promotes young learners' engagement, providing them with enough time to learn. It allows young learners to solve their own problems without intervention whenever possible, and it accepts young learners' efforts to assert independence. Finally, it communicates expectations in both verbal and nonverbal ways. The purpose of early childhood programs is to intentionally design learning environments to be responsive to all children's needs and to provide opportunities for demonstrating learning and growth in all areas. Principles of universal design for learning are fundamental to this concept and underscore the need for flexibility and a degree of customization for all children, regardless of their individual abilities or learning preferences. At the heart of every early childhood program is the daily curriculum, the space, the routines, and activities where children will interact and develop. The learning environment provides daily opportunities for growth and development and must be constructed to support play-based learning and exploration. Within a rich play-based curriculum, early childhood educators implement intentional teaching strategies to meet the expectations of early learning standards, including language, literacy, and numeracy. Play can produce a powerful blending of enjoyment with learning when intentionally structured and facilitated by teachers who provide appropriate scaffolding. The learning opportunities that adults provide to young children help them build the foundations of these skills and competencies. And we're going to look at three components of the learning environment: the physical, the social, and the temporal. In this session, we're going to focus on the physical. The physical environment includes the arrangement and the type of furniture, the lighting, the floor covering, and the organization of learning centers, including access to materials and tools of learning. Think about your own classroom setting right now, and think about what things you've done in your physical environment to promote learning. Seating is one important component of the physical environment, and we have a myriad of different seating options available to us now. I want to take a look at the center picture, and you can see off to the left we have a little guy who's actually sitting in a box. We have a little bit closer picture of him right here. So this little friend had a very difficult time sitting in a chair for even the shortest of group-seated activities. His teacher first addressed the issue by giving him some things to hold in his hand to help him sustain his attention and give him something to fidget with during the seated activities. But what would happen is he would drop those objects and then go searching around for that object or for another object. His teacher's next attempt was to see how he would do if he was given more proprioceptive input by sitting in a soft, comfortable box. Now, he's not restrained in any way. He's fully physically capable of getting out of that box by himself, but it does provide him with input to his body of where he needs to be. And furthermore, when he drops his objects, he can simply reach down inside that box and pick them up or choose a different object to play with. It made a huge difference in his ability to sit for short periods of time during group-seated activities. Children need to know where learning materials belong and take responsibility for those learning materials, including cleaning up after they are done playing. Labels with both text and images are a way to ensure that students and staff know where to find materials and the location to return them to. Consider the arrangement of learning centers and equipment. Are they accessible to students in a wheelchair? Children with sensory needs? Is there enough room for children to play in the space together? What's in your writing center? Is your word wall easily viewable? Do you have a label maker to allow students to type and create labels? Are there magnetic letters? What sorts of alternative pencils are available? Software and apps on computers and tablets should be included in any writing center, allowing young learners multiple modes of action and expression. Clicker Writer, available for PC, Mac, Chromebook, and on iOS, provides a fully accessible writing experience, allowing students of all abilities to use a keyboard or engage in whole word writing with text-to-speech support. Write Reader allows writers on the web or on an iPad to type, dictate, and choose their own images from the Write Reader image library. With minimal adult support. Drawing Pad, an iOS app that provides a range of drawing and writing tools, plus access to a keyboard, stickers, and many more effects, is highly engaging. What's in the Math Center? Counting games, dominoes, physical and digital manipulatives. A DIY Reckon Wreck, or number rack, allows young problem solvers to stand or even roll up in a wheelchair and explore a tool that addresses the important benchmarks of understanding 5 and 10. Dominoes allow children to strengthen matching, subitizing, and counting skills while playing and creating fanciful designs. Counting games, along with a core and fringe vocabulary board, provides mathematics and communication practice while engaged in peer play. Digital manipulatives, such as those from mathlearningcenter.org, support a wide range of mathematical understanding in young children, including their digital geoboard. And these are available as web apps for iOS or on Chrome. Where children can use the traditional rubber bands of a typical geoboard in a digital environment. Exploring shapes, symmetry, and much more. Students use pattern shapes to explore geometry and fractions, create their own designs, or filling in outlines. As they work with shapes, students think about angles, investigate symmetry, and compose and decompose larger shapes. Both digital and physical manipulatives provide young learners multiple means and options of engagement, for comprehension, and for action and expression. Consider a light table and translucent pattern blocks to provide a way for children with visual impairments to play, while all children will be fascinated by the way the light shines through the blocks and highlights patterns and designs. A universally designed for learning block center provides opportunities for communication, including communication boards and even blocks with communication symbols adhered to them. Include blocks that are usable by children of varied physical abilities, such as these Velcro blocks, as well as non-traditional building materials that engage a wide range of learners. Blocks can provide sensory experiences by including shaving cream to simulate cement, with the added benefit of the surface tension helping blocks stick together, which is perfect for children with fine motor challenges who may have difficulty with the precision needed for stacking blocks. In creative play centers, support learners with a range of physical needs by having easy-to-activate electronic toys, like this switch-activated school bus, along with traditional cars and trucks. Provide play surfaces at different heights to meet physical needs and the preferences for children who play more effectively while standing or seated in a chair. Use fun pop-up tents or even oversized cardboard boxes to create a play space for a child who needs to escape sensory overload. In your art activity, think about what your goal is. Is it homogeneity of a specific project for the bulletin board? Or is it to get your students to learn about a concept or use language? If the theme of the day is pigs, provide options from the highly sensory sponge painting or gluing the parts of a pig together to the open-ended freedom of coloring with traditional crayons or a digital tool. Let's take a look at Miss Marcy's classroom, where she uses a wide array of visual supports as integral components of her classroom design.
Miss Marcy's room. Hi. Over here is when we line up, so they know the door holder has a picture in front of the red line, and then there's a visual of how I want them to line up safely.
Gotcha.
I use the first thing here to tell them that after they clean up their toys, they can celebrate
Gotcha.
with dancing with pom-poms.
Of course. Get it moving, right? And then in your
hands, they know to first wait, then go up to longer they pick, so that I can monitor how many kids are going to be at each center. And the great thing about this is they self-monitor.
Gotcha.
And they watch as it fills up, and they know that
So they
building
know,
is
they
full.
know ahead of time.
If it's a big
Gotcha.
problem and you got some blood, we can cry. But if you're just disappointed because blocks was full,
That's
you
it.
couldn't
Yeah.
play there.
You look sad. It's okay.
You can just look
You
sad.
can be a grumpy monkey.
And that's okay. So this is how you use it that way.
Yeah. All the steps. Gotcha.
Now take a moment to reflect on your current practices. There are different entry points to your reflection. You could start with what you might redesign in your current setting. Or start with what is working well and add meaningful student choice and autonomy. Or third, start with a student who has more needs and think of how to front-load supports and eliminate barriers. Take a moment and consider. Based on your reflection, what is low-hanging fruit or something you can easily add to your current practice? Write it down and commit to making a small change that can make a big difference in your universally designed for learning physical environment.
Thank you for watching this webinar. For more information on the ATP Education Program, please visit our website at atp.nebraska.gov or email us at atp.education@nebraska.gov.